Hey guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back to Fangirlz Assemble. It's Halls and Read time.
We're doing it again.
Yeah.
Do you ever
So,
sit back and you're like, we've been doing this for so long, like
whenever I
years?
see an actual amount of years, it's really weird for me because it doesn't feel like it, but it
Yeah.
does. Like, I feel like I've
Yeah.
known you for all of my lives.
Oh,
Obviously, we've been best friends or lovers or something in past lives, and we've just continued to meet up
yeah.
because how else would two people in the same state just magically kind of meet each other, right?
It's super weird. It is
It's
super weird.
super weird.
Yeah.
But it's weird when I think about how long we've been doing this.
Yeah. Like, I think some memory or something popped up and it was like 2018. And I was like, what? Really? And I'm like, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So weird.
It's
So
so
weird.
like there's so many things in my life that I'm not good at keeping up with consistently. Uh and somehow this has worked.
We've done it.
I did get a haircut. It is fresh, it is shorter than I thought it was going to be, and obviously I'm still figuring it out.
I
People on
mean,
TikTok were like, "Here's wolf cuts. They're cute. You can do whatever." And I was like, I was influenced.
it looks
So
good. People are going
I
to love
like
it.
it. It's
Yeah.
growing on me. I like it in a ponytail better because I have like an anime character.
Mm.
I will like it when it's longer more. Will I forget to get my bangs trimmed? Yes, absolutely I will. I only get my hair cut or like dyed or whatever like twice a year. So like, hey, you should
Mm.
come back every 3 months. That will never be me. I'll be back every 6. Always.
I used
Thank
to go
you.
every month.
Yeah. Well, you have
And now
shorter
I
hair, so I imagine you've got to.
Yeah, now I do about every 2 months. I'm just, like, getting it shorter so it can grow out a little more, and then I
Yeah.
go. Yeah. Basically, when it starts bothering me, I go.
Yeah. That's probably why it ends up being so short when I do go. Because like you gotta get those dead ends grown. I'm like, oh
Mm.
no, keep the length. And then I walk out. I'm like, wait a second, my hair was like long,
What happened?
but that's okay. I like it. It's
Yeah, it
growing.
looks great. It really does. It
Thank you.
looks great. You know what else is great?
What?
Wonderful deals on your collected editions from our great sponsor,
I
InStockTrades.com,
know that's true.
where you can get up to 50% off your books, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
more,
Sometimes
when
more.
there's great sales. Free ship in the United States, over $50. And just that great packaging.
Good packaging.
And they have everything you need there. You should check
That's
it out
fair.
right now. All the good things. Gwenpool Omnibus came out.
Mm-hmm.
You should probably get that. The Ultimate Spider-Man 2 Omni is out. Maybe check that out. A lot of good things. So many
Yeah.
good things.
Hello, Mary. Hello,
Hey,
James. Welcome to Halls
Mary.
and Reads. I read a lot of stuff. You
Tell
proud
me
of
all
me?
about it. Yes,
I
I
read a lot of
am.
stuff. I did buy a lot of books last month, or like they were bought for me. Uh, as I've said, Ellie's been doing this thing that when I'm sad, and I've been low the
Oh,
past month. I am coming out of it, but I was
good.
bad. He buys me books.
Well, that's very
um,
sweet.
it brings me back to my childhood of my parents. Like, I don't know about you, but my dad or my mom would be like, would always take me Books a Million and like give
Oh,
me money or buy me books, and that was kind of like a ritual. And it's nice as an adult to go back to that because for years I didn't. I was not reading as much, and now it's just really cute.
oh,
It's really
love
fun.
that.
Happy Sunday!
Yeah, Books a
But yeah.
Million was my favorite.
Oh, God is the best.
Oh, it was the best.
My whole
I don't have one
childhood.
anymore, so I'm sad.
I
But
know at least you have a better store,
it's true. It's
which
true.
I am so excited to go to this month.
Yeah.
Um, so I read things. I don't even want to go back and forth. You want me to just go through a sprawl?
Whatever you feel like. Let's do back and forth. If you read a lot, I have a little stack here.
Okay.
Let's do that.
So I treated myself and bought this that I've been looking at for a long time. Embrace Your Size, My
Hmm.
Own Body Positivity by Hada. So this is like it's a memoir, but it's kind of spaced out. I imagine this probably was some sort of like web comic at first, and I think she gained notoriety through that. But it details her own life and like as a Japanese person, dealing with her weight and what that looked like, and finally like accepting it. Um, I really liked it. I think it didn't quite make it as a 5 out of 5 for me, but I still really enjoyed the art's so cute. Um, it's very, oops, sorry, very bright here. Very comical, kind of. like if you were going to compare it to something, it's like less depressing. My lesbian experience with loneliness. But I really enjoyed it because she draws a lot of inspiration from like plus size magazines in Japan. And she talks about how it took her a long time to feel comfortable enough buying that, because she kept buying what was the more popular and realizing that that advice that are in those magazines doesn't really apply to her body and her needs. And finally was like, okay, no, there's big girls can dress cute, big girls can feel comfortable. You can be healthy without having it be your whole, like, I've got to lose weight, be this. And just also kind of her love of like Lizzo, Amy Schumer, unfortunately, but I'm glad that the movie that she was in helped her out. Very glad for her. And at the end, she actually interviews, and it's in here, a very popular plus size model in Japan. So I guess she raised that heights enough. And it's really great because I think you kind of like join her of her, I guess, more of a neutrality and acceptance, which I really enjoy. I want more of this. I'm not sure what I felt like it was still good. I put a 4 out of 5 instead of 5, but I put 5 out of 5 at first, and then I thought about it. So if I feel good, I put a 5 out of 5. But then I thought about the next couple of days. I was like, is there something I wanted more from this? And I think because it was not like a succinct kind of like grouping of stories, it kind of felt all over. That's why. But I still really liked it. And I think if you are, anybody, but for a plus size lady, anytime I see manga, especially because I never do, about anyone bigger, I'm in it. Like, I'm going to be there. I need to check it out because I am not, my body type is not showcased in manga. Understandably so. But it is nice to see it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you ultimately liked it.
Yeah, I did. I recommend it.
Good.
Real quick. It is the limited edition Monkey Island box from Limited Run Games. I might still get the like upgrade because the new game came out, but I'm a huge Monkey Island fan. And my husband and I actually kind of got together because of Monkey Island. He was like, if I excuses like play through the games with me.
That's cute.
He liked it too, but
yeah,
that's kind of like our first hanging out as like
love that.
Potentially a couple deal.
All right. Well, I was letting you know beforehand that I can't remember what I mentioned on our last January Halls and Reads. So if there's repeats, I apologize, everyone. But I did read The Evil Secret Society of Cats. Did I tell you about this? Do you remember?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you already talked about that.
Okay. Well, no, but like, no, you talked about when you first got it too.
Okay.
So like, I don't know if you went in depth about it. Like,
okay, well let's talk about it. One, they're just like 4-panel like strips and little stories, you know. And they're all in color, which I really like. I feel like there's been more and more manga lately that is in color, and I don't know what's happening, but I enjoy it. This art's very cute, and ultimately, the Evil Secret Society of Cats is just like, you know, these cats are out to like keep the humans at work, so they'll come up to you and like want you to pet them instead of going to work and sit in your lap, and just like silly things that obviously are not actually evil. Yeah. But it was really funny and cute, and I liked it a lot. So I will keep reading this. There's going to be more.
Second thing, where's all my okay? I read the first one of this a while ago, but my friend Robert, who's been really sweet, bought me the next 2 volumes because he's like, "Do you have these?" Because I told him about it. I had him read it. It was at my house, and so he went and bought it. I was like, "Oh, that's cute. So sweet! What a good gift!" And so I immediately read the next day, both of them in one sitting because how I read manga. I'm still really loving this series. It is a little lewd, but not lewd in like I don't feel like it's objectifying. It just feels like a natural adult relationship. Like, yeah, they have sex, but I'm not seeing all of it. It just feels like I don't know. It's not played up like it is in manga normally. And it may come off as too lewd when you look at like the covers, but there's a reason. I think I've talked about this before, but Sweat and Soap, you have this woman who is very sweaty, and it's always been a big like issue with her. She sweats a lot, and it's always brought a lot of like shame and like anxiety, and she's always worried about her smell, but she's in love with the scents that her company makes, and especially this man who creates the scents. He's got like a super nose. But basically, he's like intoxicated by her smell. He loves her smell and he likes her. And that's kind of like their intimacy is like that. Not in like a creepy way, but just like, oh, I can tell by your smell, because he's like a scent genius or whatever. When you're happy or sad, or how it mixes with our scents. And he's really like touched that she is so in love with his scents and how it brings her happiness and how much it's changed her life. And as somebody who was a very sweaty middle and high schooler, and it brought me a lot of anxiety, I really identified with it. But it's really cute. I'm really excited to see where the rest of this goes. I'm sure I'll end up collecting all of it. It's just nice to read more of an adult story that isn't like horny on main like most Japanese manga. Not that I mind it, but like not in a way that like services the story or their relationship. Love it.
And there's a box
it
set
is sexy. Now. There's a box set now?
Yeah, there is.
Does it come with soap? Because that would be even better.
Man,
I'm so bummed I can't smell anything. Oh, that's okay. One day.
I feel that. I feel that.
I want to smell so bad. It's been like a year. Ugh.
It's a bummer.
It's fine. Have you checked out Assassin Roommate? It's a webtoon about a nerdy, bigger woman that is also an assassin. No.
That sounds good, though.
Sounds like
Assassin Roommate.
What I would like.
We'll write that down.
Assassin. Any nerdy, bigger women.
Roommate. Okay, cool. By the same author as The Evil Secret Society of Cats, I did read Yokai Cats, yes.
I almost bought it while I was at the big store.
It's so
I love
fun.
The Kappa one. I love Kappas a lot.
Oh, it's so fun, and they go through each one and like tell you about the. I just loved it. I loved it so much. I didn't know what to expect, you know. Yeah, so they go through like each
cute.
one, which is cool. Yeah, they all have different powers and whimsy, and they're so weird. This one's just like a blob of a cat.
Oh.
I loved it, of course. I'm just gonna keep. I want more from this author of all the cats. That's what I want. It's
art style's great.
Oh, love it.
Another one I did talk about a little bit. When we did our like books we want to read for the year, this did come across. I was looking through things. I'm Kind of Chubby and I'm Your Hero. 5 out of 5. I love this. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm so in love. This actor, he's a stage actor who's a bit chubby. But isn't like down on himself about it, which A+.
Yeah.
The bar is low for plus size people, but he recognized that maybe he could lose weight he might need to for like acting, but not in a way that's like, oh my God, I have to, because I'm like, the beating yourself up doesn't happen. But he gets a fan in this local patissier chef who's like very busy. It's super popular in town, and he's not sure who it is because he keeps getting these like sweets sent to him every day, which of course is not helping. What he might need to lose weight for is like, whatever. But he's so touched because he has his first real fan, because usually it's this other handsome guy who's a fan. And I actually think it's the girl that works with him, because he walks in and he thinks, oh, this must be it, because the guy isn't talking as much. But eventually they finally connect and realize, and they really just kind of confide in each other, and they're starting like a friendship. But it's like it's a mutual admiration of the other, like true admiration. Obviously it's gonna become something else, but this is the most cozy, cute. I worry about a lot of boys love manga a lot of times, because sometimes, and girls love as well sometimes, because it can feel, it's not meant for, like boys love tends to be meant for women a lot of times, and girls love, it depends on what it is. If it's like super salacious, it doesn't always feel like it's meant for that gaze. But this felt natural and real, and not like objectifying a male relationship just because it is. I love him. I love them so much. Ugh. I wish a lot of old manga would get a hardcover new release. Preach. There's a lot of older series that I love that I know are going to be very difficult for me to get. Luckily, a lot of older series end up in half-price books. They end up being sold at conventions, and I can usually get the whole set. But there's a lot of them that I'm not guaranteed to get. Like GTO is a big one. and I wish a lot of them would get re-released. Adding a lot of those to my like Excel doc of the books I want to have, because I want all of Mars. You can read on Comixology, but I don't trust them. I want to own it.
Fair.
Elliot, thank you.
Aww.
You're just saying to make me feel better. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Adam. This is also one that I feel like I mentioned at some point early this year, but I have to mention it again because I did read it in January, and I need you to read it. And that's, of course, Ex Yakuza and Stray Kitten. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. And this cat, the whole time, is just like scared of him. Because the cat's like, oh my gosh, he clearly was like part of crime and stuff, right? But the guy saves him. He was like put in a box, it's pouring rain, and he picks up this kitten and he just takes care of him. And then you realize, oh, he's got a whole like pet cafe of rescued animals that he's taking care of. And it's adorable. So I'm so looking forward to more of this. I know you'll love it.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry for everybody. You can probably hear my cat losing it on the other side of the door.
Oh.
She does not like a door being closed.
She needs in.
She does. But then she would be upset because she'd be in the door would be closed. You know how it is. Ugh.
Classic cat.
Okay, not take care of our cat that way. Just like...
That's horrifying, and I hate it.
Just pick her up. Cuddle her. Please cuddle her. She just wants to be pet. Let me make sure I'm not holding up my prose yet, because I did read some prose. Pixels of You. So I finally bought this because I like the style. It's very like definitely anime inspired. There's obviously a photographer lens. I'm a photographer, so I was like, this sounds good to me, and potentially gay, right? This just fell flat, which is a bummer because the art is really cool. The premise is really cool. Let me find some good pages to show the art first. But basically, you have these two people. Oh man, it's so bright in here you can barely see it. You have these two women who they're younger. I believe they're both in college, and they have an opportunity to work this gallery, but together for this art studio. And they're both photographers, but different because one is human and uses an actual DSLR. The other is AI. She's a robot. But her robot parents, who very much look like robots, saved up and pay a lot of money for her to look more human. And she actually takes pictures with just her eyes. And they have very differing views. And so a lot of this keeps talking about, like, there'll be different, like, between each chapter, there'll be a quote about AI or something. And I can see what they're going for here. I think they try to tackle a lot of things in the book, and I don't think it quite landed anything. Partly because your main girl, she was very like stoic the whole time. Like, and that's fine to be unhappy and you're dealing with your own trauma and whatnot. But it didn't feel like it really changed towards the end either. Or like it took too long. Whereas your AI robot, she was very like pleasant and happy. But it just didn't, the story's there, it's very cool. It didn't land. And I'm really bummed about it.
I felt the same when I read it.
But
yeah, I felt the same.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned wanting to read this eventually, and I did end up reading Night of the Living Cat, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Which is so funny and ridiculous. Like, what I love is...
little balls.
I love
I love when people draw cat balls.
It's ridiculous. But I love the art style, too. It's very much like... some like major action but burly like action JoJo's manga. Yeah, that's what it's like, right? All these characters, I'm just like, they look like really burly and like they've got a lot of attitude. But so what ends up happening, of course, is people are turning into cats. So if you get near a cat and you touch a cat, you turn into a cat. So it's a cat apocalypse, and they're all like, we can't go near him, but we love him so much and we want to pet him. So there's like these burly characters who were like, oh no, I want to pet the kitty, but I can't because I'll turn into a cat. It's so ridiculous, but it's so fun and funny, and I really, really liked it. So I totally recommend it. Cat balls.
It looks great. I talked about this a little bit already in the show, but I read the first volume of Satoko and Nada. I think they're both in America, but it's about Satoko, who is a Japanese student, and her roommate, Nada, who's a Saudi Arabian woman. So together, it's just about them learning about each other's customs. in a very interesting way, while also being in America and what that means for them as exchange students. I'm in love with this. I'm going to buy all of it. I can see this wouldn't be for everybody, but as someone who was an international student and while I was a domestic student had several international roommates, it felt like it brought me back to being in college and grad school. And I love any story that is a memoir that just kind of explores other cultures, especially how Japan moves, like interacts with other cultures. And I didn't know a lot about like Saudi Arabian culture either. So to learn about women there is really cute because they had a lot of cute moments to where like they talked about how Nada would dress in public versus if it's just at her at home, and how like they'll get the girls together and obviously she can take off everything and dress really cute. And so they're completely different people almost when they have like the girls party at home. They're all like dressed up and cute and crazy and having fun and getting drunk, or not drinking, but like having fun. And just, it's fun. They go buy lingerie together. And she's like, well, why do you care about lingerie? And she's like, no, but when you wear really pretty lingerie underneath everything, like it changes how you feel. Like you feel cool. And like the next page, like Satoko's obviously wearing the cute lingerie she bought under her clothes. She's like, oh, I can tell. It's just they're so cute. I really liked it.
Yeah, I read that a few years ago and I remember enjoying it too. I need to continue with it as well.
Oh my gosh. Anyone that changed the gunshot in the background? No, he didn't. I don't know what happened, but Robin got the gun and she is pissed. I want a whole comic about Robin on a rampage with a gun. Kristen would buy it. Robin is intense, so I'd not be surprised. At nighttime, she likes to like, if you have like the headboard, she likes to walk across that, and then I live in fear that she's gonna fall and scratch me to death. Which is not unlikely to happen. My cat is not good at balancing or landing. I feel like Viz never goes for older manga. Dark Horse and Seven Seas do, though, which makes me hope we get a Pumpkin Night so bad or Freak Island. You never know.
Yeah, I feel like there's more and more of old manga coming back now, so
yeah,
maybe nostalgia will get everybody. I read Anne, an adaptation of Anna Green Gable's Sort of. This was gay, which was great, but I felt like there was something lacking in it. I ultimately gave it 3 stars. I still liked it. You know, Anne is a foster child. I really like the art in this as well. And she ends up having her first crush on her best friend and going through that and dealing with her foster family who wanted a baby and ended up getting Anne, who is a teenager. Yeah. And they were like, oh, wait, she's going to have to go back. But of course, that's a happy ending. And that's good. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth a library pick for people, which I got this from my library. And it was fun to see an adaptation of that where everybody already says Anne and her best friend like are in love in the original books, but like obviously you don't see it. So it's neat to see that depicted in a graphic novel that's aimed at ages 8 to 12. So that's neat.
Love it. It seems like taking pixels off my wish list and adding Sadako and Nada. Your description of it is giving me Himawari House vibes a bit, which I just read a few days ago and absolutely loved it. That's next on my list because when you talked about it, Kristen, I definitely wanted to check it out. I'm all for reliving study abroad days and convincing any one of you. Even now, you can still go do a homestay. There's opportunities. Let me help you study abroad. You can still do it. Go travel.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It was so good.
Let's get into library picks. I read Adam, the beginning. I picked it because there's a cat on it, so I wanted to know for you.
Thank you.
So the original story is by Osamu Tezuka, who did like Astro Boy, Princess Knight, Cyborg, all those. I'm like forgetting all the names of everything. Carla, like one of the fathers of manga, right? So the story's by him, but the concept and the art are by the other people while being supervised by Makoto Tezuka, who I assume is some family member of Osamu Tezuka, and in collaboration with Tezuka Productions. I guess sort of like, when people pass away, they kind of honor that and make those things. It's about these, I wouldn't call it cyberpunk, but you could say futuristic with robots, but a very like casual way. Like even those robots, it's not a super futuristic town. There just happens to be robots. So this crew is trying to make this AI robot, or they've successfully done it, but there's something special about him. The art is beautiful. That's the best part about it. Like, oh my gosh, once again. You can't see it that well because it's so bright. But it's very Tezuka art, which I love. I mean, it's beautiful. It's like a painting with everything. And I did really enjoy it. I'm not sure about it yet. It didn't click with me enough. The story is interesting. It feels very lighthearted. I have to read more to see how I feel about the whole series. Because right now I'm like, this is fine. Sure. But I mean, the art alone, beautiful.
Now, how prominent is that cat?
Not as prominent as I wanted to be. So I again, I checked it out because I was like, maybe it's a whole robot and a cat story.
Sure.
So that way, if I was right, I'd tell you, but that's not the case. No.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. I wondered. I finally read this Kickstarter that I backed forever ago that's been sitting on my shelf, A Frog in the Fall, and later on. Aww. This is that great, like, weird slipcase book that is like landscape format, but you can put it on your shelf, you know, vertically. And it has this wonderful, beautiful art. I love the art in this. And the excuse me, the spine is like weird, right?
Ooh.
And it is so cool. And I gotta tell you, it is the story about this like frog family, specifically this little guy frog who goes on an adventure away from his home, kind of sneaks out. And I have to ultimately tell you, not a lot happens. Okay, ultimately, you can see that not a lot happens, but I still liked it. I still enjoyed the journey. Again, the art is just beautiful. I'm glad I backed it. And of course, I have to mention, speaking of Kickstarters, that you need to back. There is a Kickstarter right now for Summer Vacation by my husband, Reed Chancellor.
Oh, I will be.
It is halfway to the halfway funded mark. So right now, if anyone's interested, there's also like a limited 7-inch vinyl that, you know,
very cool.
It's a fiction story about a band of teachers who go on their first tour ever, but they're older, so they got to deal with like that, and also their first time ever during summer vacation. They go on their tour. The band in the book, you can actually get the real life EP. So digitally, you can get it, as well as there's a limited 7-inch, which I think is so cool and fun to interact with the book. So check that out. Summer Vacation. Yeah, thank you, James. James, you're always coming in clutch. Love that.
All right. I've been looking at this book forever. That I got from the library because I almost bought it, but I was like, I'm not sure yet. I will be buying this. I want everybody to read this. I'm obsessed. And this is Yamada's Talk to My Back. So this is a collection of a manga that she wrote from 1981 to 1984. And it basically details the experience of a Japanese housewife and what that's like in a very realistic way, a very honest way. I'm so obsessed. I'm so obsessed because it's her daily life of like taking care of her kids, but also I feel like she's losing herself because her whole life exists around taking care of the kids all the time. Because her husband, as most salarymen, especially around the 80s, weren't coming home all the time. And when they did, you're just a glorified maid to them. There's not this like me as a person. I am this person's mom. I am this person's wife. I am not Yamada. I am not Yamada Murasaki. I am just this. And they deal with like common issues of like affairs and things, which, you know, still happen, but was very prevalent because your husband's gone all the time. He's drinking all the time after work. You don't see him. Oh my God. I'm so in love with this book. It's so good. I just read this morning. Oh, let me find a good picture. The art is simplistic, but just so, oops, man, this damn thing. It doesn't feel like, because after I read it, I assumed it was recent. And the fact that this is all from like 1980s, like early, I was not expecting that, especially for it to be so honest about the whole experience. And from a female mangaka of that time. It feels so modern. It feels like an art and kind of story and vulnerability that you would see in like a Western comic right now. I'm going to push this on everybody. This is called Talk to My Back. You got to read it.
I want to read it. I just wrote it down. I'm reading it.
Good. This is a 5 out of 5. This is going to, I want you to read because I feel like this needs to end up on my my bracket.
Yeah. Okay. Who put that out?
Drawn and Quarterly.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they do a lot of cool
Because
stuff.
I mean, this is a chunky baby right here.
Yeah,
like,
love that.
And it runs about like $30 USD, worth every penny.
Love that. I'm gonna check that out for sure. That sounds cool. I'm just gonna keep going with my cat comic spree because that's my life, right?
Go for it.
Early this month, I read House Cat Trouble, and then I just read last night House Cat Trouble Lost and Found. When I say
the first one, but you haven't talked about this one.
Yeah, I just read this last night. It's so fun and so good, and there's a supernatural element to each of these stories. Like this one specifically, so this house cat Buster, who you saw in the first one,
Yeah.
he wakes up one day and just finds this little white cat in his house. And he's like, who are you? Where are you? And this little kid is like, I'm lost. I'm lost. And then you eventually see this cat like levitating.
Yeah.
And like floating and like doing these little like this cat's supernatural. Something's going on with this cat. And it ends up being a whole adventure for Buster to like find this cat's home and like go out of his house again, which he's terrified because he's a house cat.
Yeah.
Then you run into the cats from the first book who helped him out, who are on the streets. It's such a blast. There's just like unexpected heart in this story that I totally recommend to anybody because it's such a fun adventure. And this art is really, really nice. I really liked it. And all of the characters that you run into, it's just so fun. So this may seem silly and everybody be like, whoa, there's a little cat story. No, it's great. It's great though. It is really, really good. Again, unexpected heart in both of these. Totally recommend it.
All right. This next one's been on my wish list for a while, but we were at the library and I saw it and I was like, finally. And that's How to Pick a Fight by Laura Kaminoff.
It's so weird because Reed just read that.
This book is great.
He just read it and he was like, you need to read it. And I haven't read it yet.
It's so good. It's so good. So it's about, first of all, the art, fantastic. Look at those. Oh, the red on the end.
See, what's fun about that is red's not actually on the end. The pages are just outlined in red. Oh. So it appears, I love the color palette. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll describe it in a second, but I've got to show you guys the art and everything, because is that not gorgeous? I just wanted to read it because there's a kid with a pompadour.
Did you also get it from Half Price Books?
No, it's from library.
Oh,
but seriously, this has been on my list to buy for a long time. Again, only because he is a pompadour.
You could probably get it at half price.
Now I want it because I think it's one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. To me, the pages remind me of like woodblock printing. Like if you told me this whole thing was made by woodblock printing, I'd be like, yeah, of course it is.
I can see that.
I will believe you. So this kid, Jimmy, he's the middle child of this really big family. He doesn't feel like anyone's paying attention to him. He feels like he's doing everything wrong. Like every time he's trying to do something, it goes really well, then he messes it up. The happiest he is when he's watching wrestling with his grandma, because she always watches it with him, and then like he gets to kind of be himself. And so he even emulated his favorite wrestler because of the pompadour hair. And so finally gets tired of it. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and fight. I'm going to go ahead and make a name for myself. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go in the city. And he kind of tells this person not really listening, and eventually leaves a note. And then that's when they notice, like, oh no, he's gone. And he goes on this long, big adventure. Like at one point he ends up on a ship for a second. He ends up kind of sleeping in like a zoo or like a carnival or something. He ends up like learning and befriending animals. He ends up stuck on an island. Like all these things. It's just his kind of journey of self-discovery. I think some people probably didn't like it as much because it doesn't technically wrap up in a way that's just like, it doesn't really come full circle. It's just this journey that continues and it ends on a silly note. I don't care. I loved it. I love him. I know you found it for me. You pointed it out. But it was on my wish list. It's a riot. He's the cutest kid. And again, the art, I've never seen anything like it. I think it's so great. Like I would love prints of this in my house with little Jimmy with his pompadours hanging out. She does not sell prints. I think she has sold prints before. I looked immediately. She's not even on Twitch selling Instagram. I mean, she's an artist, but I need more of whatever she's put together with this.
I love that you read that. Because he just read it and was like, hey, read this.
Oh, you're going to like
I'm planning
that.
to read that, yeah. Another thing I read early this month that I have talked about, Knights of the Cat Volume 1, and I just read Knights of the Cat Volume 2.
Yeah.
It's so great. It continues to be so great. I still love the color palette too. It's like black and white and there's like green.
Oh, cute.
Which is really neat. I love how they draw this cat as well.
Very cute.
And yeah, it's just this guy who's having to deal with learning cat behavior for the first time, having his own cat for the first time, and not understanding cats. Like there's one point where he's like, picking up the cat, and it's just like a blob of how do you have a spine, which I think all first-time cat owners has been like, how do you exist like this? It's so fun. I love it.
Oh, hey, welcome.
Hey.
I love your icon. Another library pick I went and read. Hitomi-chan is Shy with Strangers. I wasn't a fan. Basically, this girl's new at school. She's a freshman, but she's really tall. She has real big boobs, and she kind of has like a scary face. Just naturally, except for when she's happy and she looks good. But she befriends this guy on the train that's a year older than her, but much shorter. His sister, who's in her year, is a big fan of her like abs. It's a typical kind of like goofy, like, oh, this girl's really great though, and like she's like heart of gold, but she's real scary. But also bazongas. It was fine. It's nothing new, you know. I picked up because I was like, this seems fine. It's okay. That's it.
I get it.
If you want to see some big bazongas, there you go.
Pick that up. Yeah. I recently read, this is also from Nobrow, who did the How to Pick Up a Fight, Moonhead and the Music Machine.
Cute.
So the story is about this kid who has a moon for a head. And the best part is you don't ever understand why. Like you get to see him in his school with all of these kids that don't have moons for heads. And it's just never explained. Just never ever explained. He just has a moon for a head, and so does his mom and dad. And he deals with like some bullying because of it. He decides that he wants to make his own music, and he makes this music machine, as is on the cover. Enters a talent show. I really like the art, and it's kind of the colors in this too are really, really cool. Ultimately, not a ton happens though.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where it's just the story of this weird kid with the moon for a head. But I still liked it. I ultimately liked it. I gave it a 3. I do recommend like picking it up in the library or something. Yeah. But it was strange. But it was a good time.
Next has been on my list because I want to start reading some more like, I love cozy fantasy. And I know there's a lot of like cozy fantasy manga out there that I want to check out. And now that I finally returned my books to the library and I can go pick up books from the library, I want to check out what they have there, so I'm not just spending my money crazily. Delicious Dungeon, aka Dungeon Meshi by Ryoko Kui. I've been wanting to read this forever. Basically, they're like in the depths of the dungeon, this like adventuring party, but things go awry when they're fighting this dragon, and ultimately they lose. And the main character, his sister, ends up being eaten by the dragon. So what they're hoping, they have to go back in there and hope that the dragon has a very slow digestion process that they can get through. But they had somebody leave their team. They're out of funds. They're broke because they left some stuff back there. Because they're almost like dying when somebody, we don't know who, actually magically transported them out of the dungeon. And so they're like, well, we don't have money for food. What are we going to do? He's like, don't worry. We can just, there's got to be an ecosystem in the dungeon. Monsters live there. They have to be eating something. We can just cook our way through. And they're like, gross. No, he's like, no, I've always wanted to do this. I've been fascinated by monsters forever. I love them. I love different types. And you know what? I've always kind of wondered how they taste. So they go through here with the help of another, I guess, dungeon chef, if you will, just cooking things along the way. Because he's like, hey, can I go with you? I've always wanted to eat a red dragon. I wonder how I'm going to do it. And so, they fight these, mushroom people and, chop them up. They find, mollusks living in, little crevices of living armor. He's like, oh, I want to eat living armor. You can't. It's just armor that's been magicked alive. He's like, no, there's something in there. The art is very cute. they'll find a thing, he'll cook it. The elf is always like, no, I don't want to do that. And it's a back and forth. Love this. I'm going to read all of it. I've been hearing about this forever, and it seems right up my alley. Very cute.
I'm glad you loved it. I've also been curious about that one because it looks really fun. So that's awesome.
Hopefully they make it in time to assist her. I would imagine. This doesn't seem like the kind of book that would not.
Yeah.
It's Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you. I love Ellie and Reed chatting each other up.
Yeah, it's cute.
Speaking of something Chance scare with big bazongas type titles, have you checked out the anime Tomo-chan's Girl? It's about a tomboy girl who kicks butt and has a crush on her best friend. No, but it seems like I would like that. So,
that does sound cute. Yeah.
I'm down. I like the premise a lot of these. Sometimes they don't do it right. This one didn't do it right. Other ones do. That sounds good.
I cannot remember if I've talked about Monotone Blue since I read it. Do you remember this?
You talked about it.
I did. Okay.
And I want to read it.
Okay. I'm curious your thoughts because of this one thing that really made me be like, I didn't love that. Yeah, there's one thing, and you're gonna know. You're gonna know when it happens. You're gonna know. But I am curious your thoughts. I did read Captivated by You.
You gave it a 3.
I gave it a 3. Yeah. Which ultimately means, I liked it all right.
It's so good.
Right? Yeah, I liked it. I don't know what I expected when I went into this. I think I just didn't know, right? I didn't know much about it. There were interesting, I couldn't figure out if it was like an anthology, but with the same characters.
Okay.
Coming back and forth, and then some characters didn't come back to other stories that I thought would. So I guess it ultimately didn't feel like a whole big story like I wanted it to, but I still enjoyed it all right. I would recommend, again, I think it's a great library pickup for somebody or something like that.
I made a whole assumption based on the cover. It's like, sometimes that does happen where I saw that.
That's what I did.
Okay, it's going to be this whole thing. It's going to be so... And I'm sure I was like, it'll still be good regardless. But in my mind, it's like I played the whole story out of what this was going to be in my head without knowing.
I think I did the same thing. Yeah. I think I did the same thing. It's to the point where, I read it, I don't know, a week or so ago, and I still couldn't tell you much about it. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Thinking back now, I'm kind of like, okay, apparently I liked it all right. But, yeah, it wasn't anything amazing.
With the last book I have here, because I read some prose, but I'm going to start with the comic books. That I read for you is Wonder Cat Q-chan.
Yeah.
Loved it. I'm going to read all of them.
Oh, so cute.
This was so cute. It's just this guy who gets a cat for the first time, and they really hit it off. But the cat is really goofy and interesting because it doesn't always act like a cat, but does. It doesn't really talk, but it does have thought bubbles. It does do things. And the best part of this book is when he wanted to give his master a gift of this star lantern. I guess because they always look at the stars together, and he'll wake him up to go look at the sunrise and the stars, and always cheers him up, which is so sweet. Yeah. And so he tries working little jobs. But he doesn't really have money. This is so good.
I love it so much. It makes me so happy.
So sweet, and the way that he takes care of his master's kind of mental health even is really cute. Yeah, I really like it. So I'm gonna read all of these because I think the library had at least 4 or 5 of them. So
love them. Yeah, I don't know how many there are going to be, but I kind of want it to never end. It's so good. I'm glad you read that. I feel like I did mention this at some point during some show we did, but I just need to stress, this is the last thing I have to, that this is one of my favorite things I read this month, and that's, of course, Space Trash.
I want to read it.
I think you're going to really enjoy it. And, I mean, the art's so fun and good, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one. This is one of my most anticipated releases of this year, the second volume. So I don't know when it's coming out, but I am stoked. And this is a nice, big hardcover too. Yeah.
Well, I would love to have been doing the show. You could do it right before the show's in. Now I'm thinking about them.
Can I come over and eat some? That sounds nice.
So good. I'm looking through my Goodreads because I did read other stuff. Most things I talked about, here. Because we already talked about It's Only the Center of the Earth, obviously. I read Crumbs, which I loved. Give that a 4 out of 5. And of course, I read the newest Five Nights at Freddy's book, Submechanophobia. It was a 2. Normally, it's like a 3 or a 4 for me. This one was a 2.
Yeah.
But it's cool. And I read
It happens.
Can't Spell Treason Without T. Loved it.
Love that.
And I have more cozy reads on the way. I did haul some things that are not books, but I wanted to show them. I pre-ordered this forever ago. Can we just look at this?
Aww.
Let me turn this light up a little bit so you can see it maybe. Oh, God. Come on.
Oh, she's cute.
Isn't she cute? She's a little Wonder Woman and her head moves.
Aw. Love that.
I know. And I lucked out this month with stuff. Like, there are these sets of figures that I have. There's one right back here of Reiju from One Piece called Glitters and Glamours. And in Japan, when I go, I usually get these for about $13. I'm really killing it. But at conventions, they sell for like $40, which I get it. You went over there, you shipped it, whatever, but it's dumb. I got 2 of these figures. I've been on my wish list for a long time for like $25 each, which is pretty good for in America. In person, not online. I just happened upon them, which is way better for me than ordering them because I have like a story now. Like, oh, I remember when I found this.
Yeah.
There's feelings associated. That's way better. So the first one, which I was so excited about, is Rebecca from Dressrosa in One Piece, and she's dressed up as the guy who took care of her, aka her dad, when he was a toy. Spoilers.
That is awesome.
Soldier Son. And I've wanted this one forever. Just her dressed up as Soldier Son. I don't care about the rest of the outfits. Mm-hmm. It's this one. And I saw it in the store and I was like,
that's so cute.
It. The second one I found yesterday because we decided to stop by the mall just to see. Did find the new One Piece card deck. Don't know how. That shit sells for like $40 online. We found it for $11.
Wow.
But I also found Carrot from the Zoe arc of One Piece. She's a rabbit, and I love her, and this has been on my wish list for a long time.
Nice.
Very excited. I also found, at Hot Topic, the Five Nights at Freddy's shirt I wanted that I couldn't get online.
Nice.
And that was very exciting. I was, like, happy stimming through the store. I was like, I can't believe.
Love that.
So, hey, everything's coming up, Maddie, really. A lot of reads.
Love that.
You know, I have some like pros I'm in the middle of, or starting like Jasmine Throne I'm in the middle of. I've been listening to The Stand-In because it was free on like Audible Unlimited or whatever, which I like. But do you ever get to a point in an audiobook? I think it's easier in like regular books where you get so secondhand embarrassed that you have to stop. I think when you read it, you can move quickly. You can kind of ignore what's happening.
Yeah.
But with an audiobook, I can't really do that and know I'm missing, right?
I know
the show you can too, because you can kind of see.
Yeah.
What a bummer when a book is so good and you really enjoy it and the couple's together, but then the main character screws it up. And you know it's going to be fine, but there's something about that where I have such a visceral reaction. It's so hard for me to continue. I don't know how people do it. Maybe they have advice. It's like it affects me personally. I can't. Maybe I'm too empathic. I don't know, but it's painful.
I feel like I felt that with fiction audiobooks. I don't listen to a ton of fiction on audio, but when I have, like, and it's certainly much harder. Maybe for those sections you just put it on like higher speed.
Maybe. Because I tried, it's like, oh, I can do it. And I was like, I don't think I'm in the right mental place. It's going to literally affect my mood. Once it gets better, it'll get better. But I'm like, oh my God, why do you have to write your character so dumb? Why do you have to do this? Because the whole time I'm like, I would never do it. Why? Just go ahead and say you're sorry. Why are you waiting to say you're sorry? I just don't relate, I think. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, it's hard when there's like such a big communication issue like that in a book where you're just like, we just like, I know there has to be conflict and a resolution, but can we just like talk it out though? How about you say what you're actually feeling to this person instead of assuming things?
I think I'm tired of the trope about it. I don't think you need it for the book to be good. And you can have conflict and have them go ahead and apologize right away. And it still is a conflict that they've had. You know?
I agree.
I don't know why you have to. I feel like we should move past it. You don't have to have that anymore. The best rom-coms and stuff for me are ones where the conflict isn't so like, it can be high stakes, but if it's self-driven by you being dumb, I can't
hard.
do it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Daring Danielle understands.
Oh,
You guys reading public domain? No,
I don't know what
I
that
don't know what
is.
that is.
Yeah, we're both like, look it up, public domain.
Well, we'll have to make sure you put comic because
Yeah.
otherwise,
Yeah,
it'll be
I am.
like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, it's a new Chip Zdarsky book.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I have wanted
I've
to
heard
read
of
that.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I am not currently, but I'm sure
Yeah.
that I will because it looks very cool.
Yep. I agree.
Well, that's what I have. I know we haven't talked about shows for the month.
Yeah. I'm sure you have more to say on this because I don't know that anyone cares that I started watching Big Brother with Jessica. Other than Jessica cares.
Kelly, she got you.
She got me. I've watched season 10 and 14.
Yeah.
And now I'm watching Big Brother Canada with her.
It's very cute. I don't know what I want to read this month. I might have to come back to it because, like, I know we have a list.
Yeah.
We should look at the list, I guess.
We did mention also that show we want to do with Jessica.
Yeah.
Where we talk about books that weren't upgraded or what we would do if they were, that kind of thing. So we could do that for one of the
That's
days.
True. Maybe we can do it next week. I've got a crazy work week this week, so
that is you. Like I've said to you, if I don't have to read something,
let's do that for next week and then
do
for real stuff the rest of the month.
Okay, for real stuff. Hey, that's real stuff.
It is real stuff. I mean, like book.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Because your girl's working nights this week.
Yeah, we should. That sucks.
I did it to myself. I scheduled these.
Oh.
But they're gonna be cool, but also.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
At least I'm the boss, so I can be like, let's take off half the day, so that way we're not working the whole day.
Yeah.
That's millennial
boss queen over here.
That's right.
We should probably check with Jessica though to see if she can be on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I guess I need to go and eat these chicken parm, these parm peppers before they're gone.
Is that? Are we talking like a pepper?
No, so you get the small ones.
Okay.
You cut them in half. You put some olive oil in like a tray. You put
like what kind of
Parmesan cheese, like sweet peppers, like little.
Okay. Okay.
Like you would dip in hummus.
Sure.
And you cover them in Parmesan and you put it in the oven and you take them out.
Wow, that does sound good. That sounds really good. I'm gonna have to do that.
It's pretty good. All right. Well, hope everybody has a good day.
Yeah. Please be sure to check out our great sponsor, InStockTrades.com, and also Reed's Kickstarter, Summer Vacation. Back it. You know you want to. There's a vinyl level. Check it out.
Yeah, do it. All right. We will see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.